Yeah, one of those investigations is through the Hartford Police Department. They're going to be conducting an internal review under their use of force policy. But at the same time, parallel to that investigation, the Hartford State's Attorney's Office has launched a criminal review. Hartford Police Chief Jason Thody told Fox 61 he knows the use of force investigation reflects poorly on the department.
It is one of the things that generates the most distrust between the police and the public.
We already deal enough with inner city crime. We don't need the police, adding on top of it.
March 15th, police arrested a woman for a domestic incident and were processing her in the PD's lockup.
She ended up striking out at officers, both with her hands and spitting at officers, and force was used against her to subdue her.
Sergeant James Guzzi, who normally isn't in that room, heard the scuffle and responded, punching the woman.
It was a potential use of force that may have been outside of our policy and training.
Sergeant Guzzi was promoted by Chief Thody in 2020.
Well, so we have a civil service process here. He took a test. At that time, I believe I promoted 10 sergeants, so I asked for a list. He was on that list.
Promoted despite being arrested in a domestic incident in 2018 in East Windsor. Hartford put him on paid leave then, but
those charges were subsequently dismissed, and it didn't result in any discipline action here in the Hartford Police Department.
And while the investigation centers on Sergeant Guzzi, Chief Thody said the decisions of at least 4 other people, including a booking and transport officer, are also being reviewed.
So whether she should have been unhandcuffed or left handcuffed is a question. The de-escalation techniques used by the other officers that were there.
If we are to trust them and say that their word holds a little bit more, then they need to be held to a higher standard. That means that you can't have normal reactions. So you can't use the excuse, he's just human.
And the Hartford State's Attorney's Office told us that they are planning to release video of that incident once the woman has been interviewed. That woman, by the way, declined any medical treatment and also did not file a complaint against the sergeant. Reporting outside the Hartford Police Department, Matt Caron, Fox 61 News.